President Rodrigo Duterte leads official welcome ceremonies for Chinese President Xi Jinping in Malacanang. Malacanang hit social weather station survey showing most Filipinos reject the inaction of the Philippine government on the West Philippine Sea dispute. And the tropical depression Samuel maintains strength as it continues to creep closer to the eastern part of Samar and Dinagat Islands. President Rodrigo Duterte leads the official welcome ceremonies for Chinese President Xi Jinping. Rosalie Cos is at Malacanang to tell us why live. Yes, Rosalie.
Good evening, Rheena. President Xi Jinping arrived in the Philippines for his two-day state visit in the country around or past 11:30 this morning. This is the first state visit of a Chinese chief executive after 13 years. In the afternoon, he went to Rizal Park for a wreath-laying ceremony at the Rizal Monument. After this, he proceeded to Malacanang where he was welcomed by President Rodrigo Duterte and accorded with an arrival ceremony. After this, the top Philippine and Chinese officials led by the two presidents met bilaterally. 29 agreements were signed between the two governments concerning infrastructure, agriculture, people-to-people, trade, and other cooperation which were witnessed by President Duterte and President Xi. One of this is the exchange of the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation on Oil and Gas Development between the Philippines and China. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said this will serve as a framework in exploring opportunities, development, and solution on how we can enjoy the resources in the West Philippine or South China Sea. Meanwhile, the two leaders expressed their willingness to intensify the cooperation of the two countries.
With mutual respect, sincerity, and adherence to sovereign equality, I will continue to work closely with President Xi to deepen the relationship between our great countries so we may together secure a peaceful and prosperous future for both our peoples and for the entire region.
Chinese President Xi said China is committed to manage contentious issues concerning the South China Sea.
中非在南海有广泛共同利益。
China and the Philippines have a lot of common interests in the South China Sea. We will continue to manage contentious issues and promote maritime cooperation through friendly consultation. And we will work alongside other ASEAN countries towards the conclusion of the COC consultations based on consensus within 3 years and contribute our share to peace, stability, and the welfare in this region.
Meanwhile, President Duterte also prepared a state banquet for President Xi. President Xi is set to leave the Philippines for China tomorrow afternoon. Back to you, Rheena.
Thank you so much, Rosalie Cos, reporting live from Malacanang. President Duterte hopes to deepen the relations between the Philippines and China during President Xi Jinping's two-day visit. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte said the Philippines has renewed the ties with China and hopes the bilateral cooperation to go deeper as Chinese President Xi Jinping visits the country. Duterte made the remarks in an interview on November 7 ahead of Xi's first two-day state visit to the Philippines during his presidency. Duterte said that in the past, there was an ever-cooling of bilateral relations between the two countries because the Philippines had for ages simply dovetailed the economic and political policies of the United States.
We had improved the relations, we renewed the ties between China and the Philippines, and we kind of just restored the normalcy that we used to have or have had with China. So we agreed on a renewed bilateral relationship, signed some trade and commerce, and for the first time, China was buying everything from us. This relation, plus of course the commitment of China to help in the industrialization of my country.
The good momentum of the bilateral relations does not come by easily, so Duterte said his country will do its part to try to keep it going.
One is people to people, actually. I'm sure China is very lenient in issuing visas for Filipinos intending to go in. Second is that China is planning to hire Filipinos to work there. China has gone by leaps and bounds. And at one time, your demographic expert says that, we need some land here, but some factories. But we do not have the enough manpower or expertise. And it has sounded off a plan to employ Filipinos. That would greatly enhance our friendship, people to people, a national interest now.
Some experts also echo President Duterte's hopes in strengthening the Philippines and China's relations by signing more cooperation and joining Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative.
The Belt and Road is not the only initiative driving Chinese economic capital in the Philippines. It can be the Duterte-China relations. It could be the interest of Chinese firms to invest in the Philippines.
To elevate such bilateral relations, I think we should expect the materialization of some of the MOUs and agreements that has been signed between the two countries.
The Philippines and China's relations become genial during the Duterte administration after years of tensions due to China's aggressive reclamation activities in the hotly disputed territories in the West Philippine Sea. When he rose to power, Duterte implemented a foreign policy which includes a pivot from the United States to China to secure billions worth of investment and development aid. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Malacanang hits the survey of social weather stations that showed many Filipinos reject the inaction of the Philippine government on the West Philippine Sea. The palace also believes that the arbitral ruling favoring the Philippines is useless unless countries unite to persuade China to respect it. Rosalie Cos is back to tell us why.
The ruling of the Arbitral Tribunal under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea in The Hague in 2016 favored the Philippines' jurisdiction claims over the contested territories in the West Philippine or South China Sea. But according to Malacanang, the decision is useless for now because nobody can enforce it. The palace, however, was quick to clarify that this does not mean that the government is doing nothing to defend our country's right over the disputed territories. President Rodrigo Duterte even said that there will come a time when his administration will invoke the arbitral ruling.
Are we saying it's useless?
As of now,
Yes.
yes. But, as I said, we can get what we are supposed to have by negotiation.
Malacanang adds that the ruling will be more effective if countries will unite to pressure China to respect the arbitral decision.
Perhaps if all the countries of the world will unite and pressure China, who knows?
So that's the only way.
I
The
think
countries
so.
of the world to unite.
I think so. In other words, there must be a collective action by the countries of the world and either persuade or pressure China into respecting an arbitral decision. We cannot give up this claim simply because it's already ours. We have won it, and it will be there forever.
Meanwhile, the palace questioned the timing as well as the questionnaire of the social weather stations, stating that many Filipinos reject the inaction of the Duterte administration on the West Philippine Sea issue. The survey results was released today in time for Chinese President Xi Jinping's two-day state visit in the Philippines. Based on the survey, 84% of Filipinos believe it is not right that the government is just letting China build its infrastructures and military zone in the contested territories. Panelo says the survey questions seem suggestive and denied that the Duterte administration is not doing anything to address the issue.
We have entered into bilateral talks where problems common to the countries in this region are discussed, like security, like terrorism, like the drug menace, like trade relations that will be beneficial to all the countries in the Asian region.
The SWS survey also indicates that China still has poor net trust of Filipinos, while the United States have very good trust rating. Japan, Malaysia, and Israel have moderate trust rating.
That is expected. We've been allies with the United States for so long a time, and you cannot just easily and overnight, us or a majority of the Filipinos trusting the Chinese government. That will be a long process.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Some experts advise the government anew to thoroughly scrutinize the plan to sign a deal with China to jointly explore ports on the West Philippine Sea. Nel Maribohok tells us why.
The Philippines has long been fighting for its maritime rights in the West Philippine Sea. The contested territories are part of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone in the West Philippine Sea, where Beijing has asserted expansive claims and fortified artificial islands. Under the previous administration, the fight has even reached an international court which ruled in favor of the Philippines, invalidating China's 9-line claim in the disputed waters. Beijing, however, has continued to ignore Manila's arbitration victory, asserting sovereignty over almost all of the resource-rich waters. Amid China's aggressive reclamation activities in the disputed areas, Malacanang reveals its plan to sign a possible deal with China to jointly explore for oil and gas the Service Contract 57, which covers offshore Northwest Palawan, and SC-72, which covers Recto or Reed Bank. And with Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit in the country, reports on possible signing of the draft agreement has resurfaced. Senate Committee on Energy Chairperson Sherwin Gatchalian in a text message said that if the Philippine government is indeed serious in pursuing the deal, the administration should ensure that this will conform with and uphold the Philippine Constitution and governing laws. Director of Institute for Maritime Affairs and Law of the Sea, J. Batumbakal, also shares this sentiment.
Bagamat desidido ang gobyerno na ituloy itong joint exploration, no, alam naman natin na mayroong serious na legal obstacles dito. No? Kailangang baguhin ang batas at minimum para magpagsagawa ng isang joint exploration.
But for legal expert Attorney George Erwin Garcia, there is nothing to worry about the said deal.
It's not an issue of sovereignty. Actually, by entering into joint exploration, it is actually an understanding between the countries that each one of these countries are sovereign.
The Constitution allows the joint exploration with foreign-owned corporations, provided that the Philippines will have the full control and supervision of the resources. It should also fall in the 60-40 profits sharing in favor of the Philippines. The office of Senator Antonio Trillanes IV meanwhile released an alleged copy of China's draft for joint maritime oil and gas exploration. The said document allegedly indicates the principle, basis, and mechanism of the said agreement, as well as the position of the two countries that the joint exploration will not affect the sovereignty, maritime rights, and interests of the two parties. Without confirming if such a deal would be signed during his state visit, Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says it doesn't matter if the allegations that China created the deal's draft were true.
Even if China drafts it, it has to go over us. We have to review that. In the same manner that if we drop it, it will have to pass through them too.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, will still push through with the planned inauguration of the footbridge in EDSA, dubbed as a stairway to heaven, amid efforts to redesign the bridge. Joanano tells us why.
The Metro Manila Development Authority will open on November 27 the 13.5-meter-high footbridge in the capital's main thoroughfare EDSA, despite comments it was impractical and unsafe to use. The footbridge, dubbed a stairway to heaven, drew criticisms for being too high to use for the elderly, pregnant women, and persons with disabilities. The footbridge located at EDSA Scout Borromeo was initially scheduled to open last November 15 but was delayed after the MMDA decided to redesign it. The agency earlier said it will install a second landing and a railing on the footbridge to address the problem on accessibility.
Ang gagawin natin, i-break natin yung climb para yung mga kababayan natin magkaroon siya ng landing ng parang momentary stop. We need to consider yung effect ng weight doon sa pinaka-structure ng footbridge.
The footbridge height, however, will not be changed as it satisfies the clearance requirement of the MRT management from its power lines. The MMDA also defended the location of the footbridge from reports that the area is prone to accidents and crimes such as snatching.
Ginagawa ng mga tao, lalong-lalo na sa gabi, nakakala nila wala namang masyadong sasakyan, nakikipagsapalaran sila sa kamatayan. Tumatawid sila doon, papasok sa ilalim, then cross again doon sa going to NIA. Ang inano namin is maiwasan itong mga aksidente na to. One life is too much for MMDA.
The controversial footbridge cost 10 million pesos, but the MMDA says this amount is lower than the initial cost estimate of 13 million pesos.
Kinonsider po yan yung presyo po ng bakal. Matagal na po kasi ang bid na yan. Ngayon lang po na pa-implement yung project.
The agency also stressed that the said footbridge is only provided as an option as pedestrians can still opt to use footbridges along EDSA Quezon Avenue and Kamuning. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Expect moderate to heavy rains in areas of southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Leslie Longbowen is at the UNTV Weather Center to tell us why. Leslie?
Yes, good evening. Tropical Depression Samuel continues to move west-northwestward as it approaches the Leyte Gulf area. Samuel is expected to make landfall in the area between the southern portion of eastern Samar and Dinagat Islands tonight. At 4 p.m. today, the center of Tropical Depression Samuel was located at 250 kilometers east of Maasin City, southern Leyte, or 165 kilometers east-southeast of Giwan, eastern Samar. Samuel has maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 65 kilometers per hour. It is moving west-northwestward at 20 kilometers per hour. Moderate to heavy rains which may trigger flooding and landslides are expected over Bicol region, Mimaropa, Visayas, Dinagat Islands, and Siargao Island. So residents of these areas, especially those living near or in river channels, low-lying and mountainous areas, are advised to take appropriate measures. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 1 is raised over Masbate, including Ticao Island, Romblon, Southern Oriental Mindoro, Southern Occidental Mindoro, and Palawan, including Puyo Island and Calamian group of islands. Also among the affected areas are Samar, Biliran, Leyte, Bohol, Cebu, Siquijor, Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, Guimaras, Iloilo, Capiz, Aklan, and Antique in Visayas. And the following areas in Mindanao: Dinagat Island, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, Agusan del Norte, Agusan del Sur, Misamis Oriental, and Camiguin. Meanwhile, fisher folks and those with small sea crafts are advised not to venture out over the areas under tropical cyclone warning signal number 1, as well as the northern and eastern seaboards of Luzon. Tropical Depression Samuel is forecast to exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Friday. That's our forecast. Back to the studio.
Thank you so much, Leslie Longbowen, reporting at the UNTV Weather Center. Up next on Y News. The PNP denies plans to revive the Alsa-Masa network to combat criminality and proliferation of illegal drugs. More than 80,000 workers get regular status under the administration's anti-contractualization drive. And in the UNTV special report, find out how parents should deal with their child who is a victim of bullying. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Angelo, Castro III, and Thio after this quick break. I'm Rheena Villamor-Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rheena Villamor-Camara left off. I'm Angelo, Castro III. Here are the headlines. DICT partners with China Telecom for submarine broadband infrastructure for faster internet connectivity in the country. Korean importer of the controversial shipment in Cagayan de Oro insists plastic trash is free of toxic substances.
Grabing baho talaga. Hindi mo alos di mo Lalo kung kumakain kami dyan, hindi pa nila na-actionan yan.
And UNTV exclusive, some establishments in El Nido, Palawan found dumping wastewaters directly into the sea. The Department of Information and Communications Technology has signed a joint letter of intent with China Telecom for the use of the agency's existing cable landing station together with China Telecom's submarine cable. This is after the National Telecommunications Commission confirmed Mislatel Consortium as the new major telco player in the country. Monokson tells us why.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology and China Telecom inked a deal which intends to build a submarine cable infrastructure. China Telecom's international submarine telecommunications cable will directly connect the Philippines to Hong Kong and the US. The facility uses optical fiber technology to carry signal and digital data, including telephone and internet traffic. The two parties intend to study the feasibility of establishing a submarine cable landing before going ahead with the project. The DICT says the country needs cable landing stations that are independent of Globe and Smart, which are currently the dominant telco players in the country. For more than 10 years, Globe and Smart companies have been using the country's gateway facilities. The DICT believes that the partnership with China Telecom will make the country's internet connectivity very much faster and cheaper.
Yung agreement that was signed today for the submarine cable use with the DICT, this is our first step para bumaba po yung prices po ng internet.
China Telecom is part of the consortium together with Udena Corporation and Chelsea Logistics Holdings Corporation, which was recently named as new major player in the country's telecommunication industry. The consortium aims to deliver 27 Mbps of broadband speed in its first year of operations. This is higher than the speed currently provided by Smart and Globe. Mislatel also offers cheaper internet costs of $1 to $2 compared to Smart and Globe's $7 to $15. The consortium, meanwhile, expresses willingness to cooperate with other telcos to speed up internet connectivity, including tower sharing and linking remote areas in the country.
The only way to do that is to come up with a government infrastructure that will become available to all players, including Globe and Smart.
If the DICT's timeline is strictly followed, Mislatel will be able to have subscribers in the second quarter of 2019. Monhok Son, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
A business group and other stakeholders strongly oppose the proposed construction of the Binondo Intramuros Bridge, which is one of two China-funded projects across Pasig River. The Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines says the project will destroy the protected historical building, structures, and sites of Intramuros. The Chamber pointed out that its building is protected by Republic Act 10066 and that the encroachment of a bridge in the name of development and traffic management strategy cannot be pursued with a protected historical zone. Stakeholders also stressed that the planned bridge is very close to the Jones Bridge, which has no traffic as congestion occurs only at both ends of the bridge due to parking issues going to Divisoria and the traffic in Loton area.
They should learn more about the importance of our heritage. Because without heritage, we lose our identity. Without identity, what are we?
Hindi namin sinasabing ayaw namin sa tulay per se. Ang sinasabi lang namin is make a pedestrian bridge which would make Manila a walkable city. Meaning to say that would encourage people to walk. Masyado na tayong maraming motorized vehicles.
The 4.2 billion peso bridge, a flagship project of the Duterte administration's Build program, has a two-way has two-way 4 lanes with a total length of 734 meters upon completion within 30 months. Its groundbreaking was led by Chinese Ambassador Xiao Jianhua and President Rodrigo Duterte on July 17 in Intramuros, Manila. The DPWH has yet to comment on the issue. The Department of Labor and Employment reports that more than 80,000 contractual employees in the private sector have been regularized this year. Kathy Maglalang tells us why.
The Department of Labor and Employment has inspected around 52,000 private companies from 2016 up to October 2018. This is in accordance with the Duterte administration's campaign to end the contractualization scheme and ensure that labor laws are strictly implemented.
Nandun ba yung mga manggagawa? Naka-enroll na ba siya sa payroll? Naka-enroll ba siya sa SSS, PhilIP, and Pag-ibig? So these are documents na chinecheck po ng aming mga tauhan sa baba.
DOLE reports that this year, 84,000 contractual workers in private firms were already regularized, bringing the number of employees to get regular status under the Duterte administration to 405,000. The figures, however, do not include contractual workers from PLDT and Jollibee due to the ongoing verification process.
At bahagi po ng inspection na yon ay siguraduhin ang mga manggagawa po ay may kasiguraduhan din sa trabaho.
The Labor Department targets to finish inspecting the 3,000 remaining firms before the year ends. Alan Tanhusay, the spokesperson of Associated Labor Unions Trade Union Congress of the Philippines or ALU-TUCP, meanwhile belies the report of DOLE.
Yung sinasabi nilang 400,000 ay 400,000 yung nabigyan ng regularization order. Pero higit sa kalahati noon ang hindi pa regular sa actual. Dahil yung kanilang ini-issue na order ay hindi pa kino-comply ng mga company. So hindi totoong 400,000 plus na yung na-regular.
Tanhusay also suggests that instead of ordering companies to regularize their employees, DOLE should set a deadline for workers' regularization to pressure employers to comply. But Acting President of Employers Confederation of the Philippines, Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr., nixes Tanhusay's suggestion, arguing that this will only push employers to terminate the workers' services. Kathy Maglalang, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of Customs is further verifying if the trash shipment from South Korea contains toxic substances. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
A shipment from South Korea is being scrutinized for allegedly containing substances harmful to human health. But the importer Verde Soco 2 Industrial Corporation maintains that the items, mostly plastic trash, were made of natural materials and none have hazardous chemical ingredients. According to the firm's president, Neil Alburo, the items are all recyclable with some containing wood and plastic pipes. The shipment arrived in the country on June 24.
It's definitely not hazardous, not even harmful, no? So non-toxic. We are here binded with the regulations set by PBDEC and most definitely from the NREMP. So in the first place, why would we do such thing if these products are not so not as what people are claiming? No, there are so many issues, but definitely we're not that kind of company. We're not that, and we're not shipping those kind of products.
According to the Bureau of Customs in Cagayan de Oro, the shipment lacks import clearance and the items are not purely synthetic plastic flakes as declared. Attorney Roswell Joseph Paque, the Deputy Collector for Administration of BOC Region 10, added, however, that there was no battery or something toxic inside the shipment, contrary to earlier reports that it contains hospital wastes. Nevertheless, Paque assures that the investigation will resume to further verify if the shipment is safe.
We still have to verify it on the ground kasi iba yung nakita ng mga examiners namin. Iba-iba. So, yung nakita siguro, but yung nakita ng mga ibang agencies or whatever, they are the best, especially din sila lang po yung talagang makadetermine noon.
The importer vows to help the government in resolving the issue to eventually clear their name from the controversy. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue.
The Philippine National Police denies it has plans to revive the Alsa-Masa to combat criminality and proliferation of illegal drugs. Alsa-Masa was a network of civilian informers during the 1980s that transformed into a vigilante group. Lea Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police clarifies reports it is eyeing to revive the concept of Alsa-Masa, which was a network of civilian informers and anti-communist vigilante group in the 1980s. The PNP made a clarification following the statement of Calabarzon Police Regional Director Chief Superintendent Edward Carranza that the PNP was considering the expansion of its community mobilization project into an intelligence gathering network similar to Alsa-Masa. Police Chief of the Directorial Staff, Police Deputy Director General Camilo Cascolan says the PNP only wants to enhance the community mobilization project, which will gather stakeholders in the community to sit down and deliberate on pressing security and public matters including criminality and illegal drugs.
The Community Mobilization Project is actually, by the name itself, it's mobilizing the people para magkaroon tayo ng unity, a unified effort so that we will be having an enhanced community partnership that will fight against illegal drugs, criminality, and corruption.
The police officials also allays the public sphere that the Community Mobilization Project will be organized similar to Alsa-Masa, because the program only aims to teach the community about their responsibilities, citizens' arrest, enhancing partnership, and the campaign against crime, corruption, and illegal drugs. Cascolan also says that community policing can be initiated by local government units with the support of the PNP to ensure that laws will not be violated and human rights are observed.
This is a holistic approach. Magkakaroon po tayo ng mga miyembro representative galing sa DOJ, manggagaling sa barangay, manggagaling maybe of course sa mga local government, at saka yung magkakaroon po tayo ng policing in the community. Lahat po ito, pag medyo merong lumalampas ko sa kanyang trabaho, ay isusumbong po kagad itong mga to.
Cascolan adds that the PNP has tapped force multipliers from various agencies for this project. Lea Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Under Philippine laws, bullies can face the consequences of their actions and can even be charged criminally. But how should a person, especially parents, deal with bullies? Our correspondent Monokson outlines several helpful tips and advice in this report.
Bullying has everyone worried, not just the people on its receiving end. We even hear reports of adults, adolescents, and even children suffer depression or worse, taking their own lives due to bullying. Bullying is an act of willfully causing harm to others through verbal harassment, physical assault, or social exclusion. This act is something that parents used to dismiss as children's fight, but when left unaddressed, this might lead to injury or even life-threatening situations. So how should a person, especially parents, deal with bullying? The UNTV News reenacted some scenes in order to help viewers understand the situation and advices. According to psychologist Camille Garcia, there are many ways of dealing with bullies. One is learning to say no to bullies. When bullies taunt or physically harm a person, he or she should learn to shout for help to get the attention of people around. A person being bullied must also learn to be assertive, so bullies will know that what they are doing is wrong.
Ano, papalaga? Ba't mo ba ako ginaganito? Ano bang ginawa kong mali sa'yo? Ba't mo ba ako ginaganito? Alam mo ba pwede kang mawala sa school na to?
Learn to pick your battles. Dr. Garcia says a bullied person can opt to fight back, but it usually depends on the situation.
To fight is probably to run away. Defend. Oo. Defend, paano kung mahina ka? What if you're somebody na ang body structure mo pang isang Isang ganun pa lang, talagang tutumba ka na. So, that's one way na to escape, pero it doesn't follow na to escape is yung matatakot ka na. To escape and call the possible intervention. To defend is one way to protect yourself to safety.
Did you know that children are not only the ones being bullied? Bullies are their victims, all come in different sizes and shapes. And bullying can also happen in different places, including in the cyberspace. Dr. Garcia says the most effective way to prevent cyberbullying is to deactivate your social media account or file a case in court against bullies if you have gathered enough evidences.
Huwag mong mamaliitin kung ano yung nangyari dun sa anak mo. Kung alam mo na medyo panghihinaan ng loob ang bata, yung lakas ng loob nanggagaling sa'yo. Kaya huwag kang mangunguna na pag nag-uusapan na ikaw yung unang iiyak bilang isang magulang. Kasi wala nang panghuhugutan ng lakas yung bata. Tapos ikaw pa yung nangungunang mahina rito.
It is also better to encourage a bullying victim to consult a specialist to prevent him or her from spiraling into depression. In the end, anything wrong must not be ignored, and cases of bullying affecting you, your family or friends should not be neglected. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Singer-songwriter Top Suzara invites everyone to witness dreams coming true in the upcoming season of Wishcovery, The Singer and the Song. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Top Suzara is known for his timeless hits, including Before I Let You Go and Sabihin Mo Na. Now, the well-loved singer-songwriter is getting ready to release another composition, but this time through a competition. Top will be one of the composer wishcoverers of Wishcovery Season 2, The Singer and the Song, in the Visayas area.
Sa Cebu kasi ako diba? Visayas is a gold mine for talents. Yeah. Buong Pilipinas naman, kahit saan ka pumunta ng lupalop, merong talagang marami talaga. Overall lang sa akin, yung kung nararamdaman kita pag kumakanta ka, that's a big thing for me.
The competition is an exciting experience for Top because of its unique concept. That's why the songwriter invites everyone to watch the second season of Wishcovery.
Manood kayo simula't simula pa lang kasi then you will be witness to the process of dreams coming true on this platform.
Wishcovery Season 2 airs this November on Wish 107.5 YouTube channel. Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Up next on Y News. San Francisco District Judge blocks U.S. President Donald Trump's asylum restrictions for immigrants from Mexico. Fighting Senator Manny Pacquiao not letting talks on a rematch with Mayweather Jr. distract him from his upcoming fight with American professional boxer Adrian Broner. And Amen Bar in mid-Manhattan, New York offers soul dining booth. And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo III. Good evening.